Hello, Donna here. Welcome to my channel. Now today we're going to make some beads, and I'm going to show you the beads, just a few examples. Now if you've been watching other tutorials, you might actually recognize this from the kaleidoscope cane tutorial. This one as well, and this one too. Now I actually took the kaleidoscope cane and I squared it off because we're going to use square canes to make round beads. So that's what this is. This is actually, I think, my favorite. The little cane with the cattails and the dragonfly that actually looks like a palm tree. This is a very old cane. I actually made this for my Millefiori book. This one came from the daisy chain cane. You know what? I think it's too small. I made it and I just wasn't that impressed with it, so I won't make any more. This is a new little butterfly. And then this was from the kaleidoscope tutorial. Okay, so let us begin. I'm going to take this piece from the kaleidoscope cane class, and I'm going to actually reshape it. But first, what happens here is that because this cane is several weeks old, it has sort of solidified again, and it's a little bit hard, particularly in the middle. So you have to kind of agitate it, sort of recondition the cane and make it soft. I'm going to reduce this out and cut it in half. Now at some point during this tutorial, you know, it gets to be very long when you do the reduction and all of that, so I'm not going to shoot all of it because first of all, I don't think you're going to want to see all of it, but I think that you can get the idea without seeing it all. Okay, so the act of regenerating or reactivating a cane is actually quite simple, but there's a lot of this kind of thing, right? A lot of twisting, because I'm trying to get the clay in the middle to move. There's a lot of this kind of thing too. So twisting and pulling the ends up and kind of flexing it back and forth. Sometimes I even push it in and pull it out, push it in, pull it out, push it in, flip it to another side, push it in, pull it out, push it in, pull it out. And all of these movements combined get that clay active in the middle. Now, of course, the clay that I'm touching more directly with my fingers is responding faster. But since I can't actually touch the center of the cane with my fingers, that's why I've got to resort to these other strategies to get it moving. Now I will stroke, and once again we covered this triangular reduction where you take this part of your fingers and you actually push against the work surface so that you're not actually pushing as much or at all in the center area of the sides of the cane. Okay, so I'm going to cut and I will be back, but it's the same twisting, flexing, pulling, stroking, and those combined motions will be used to elongate this cane until it's probably about 8 inches long. Okay, I'll be back. All right, excuse me, back again. This is almost 8 inches. Now, I will cut the ends off, and let's measure and cut this in half. Seven, 3.5. And we're going to put them back together. Now, you know, I'm not exactly sure it's going to make any difference. This time, I am going to reassemble them this way, like so. Now, this is going to be reshaped into a right angle triangle. So I will put it flat on my work surface. And, ooh, they're good and stuck together, okay. And now I'm gonna rock back and forth to flatten the point. Like so. So let me pick it up and show you. You see, so I'm flattening this point. And this is what it looks like now. So you can see this side will be completely flat and there will be a corner rising right here. Okay, so let me push these little wings down to my marble surface. Like so. And of course I could have done this when the piece was only, let's say, 2 inches long, but you know, it's a lot of pushing and it's difficult. It's still difficult to get to the center of these canes. So by making it longer and making them, of course, smaller, it's actually quite a bit easier to reshape than it otherwise would be. Also, by reducing it out to 8 inches, I believe I will lose less cane when I do the reduction at the end. All right, so let me lift this up and show you. That's what I have at this point. And it's looking good. So I'll bring up that corner just by pinching along the ridge. And that's what I have at this point. Okay, so let's cut this in half. Actually, I'm going to reduce it just a bit at this point. Cut the ends, measure. Cut it in half and bring the two halves together. Like so, both sides. Now I'm going to square the cane up. And I'm just taking the heel of my hand and pushing against one side and then flipping to the next, pushing, flipping and pushing. Right now I'm just flattening this one side. And I'm going to move some stuff out of the way. And I take this part of my hand and I send it right down here at the base. So I'm pushing the sides of the cane in at that point, squeezing here, but I'm also pushing down. So I'm trying to push the face of the cane down on the tile. And let's take a look. And that's good. You see, what I'm trying to avoid is any more of this. Right here, I don't know if you can see, but this little cane here is starting to pull in. The clay is not reducing as easily. It seems to be a bit harder. But by working like this, pushing the face down and then squeezing at the base, I'm getting a lot less of that pulling back. The cane is reducing more regularly. Not perfectly, that's really hard to do. And you know, every time, there's always waste when you reduce a cane, always. At least in my life, there's always waste. All right, so now let's pinch. And as I'm pinching, I'm almost plugging it. And when I reduce round canes, that's what I do. I sort of plug the ends, I pinch down the ends, and then I reduce the middle so that the middle catches up to the ends. Of course, the more you work, the more you devise your own methods for accomplishing these tasks. I apologize for my dog. Now I'm just going to reduce the end, and I'm going to leave this end and leave this end thick. I do this quite a bit so that I have one end that's reduced and the other end is pretty large, so that this end, you know, I am actually keeping some of the cane in its larger state. I haven't reduced the whole thing. I love my dog, but that could be a chipmunk out there. He likes to bark. Okay, so let me keep pulling some of this out. If I want to reduce more, I will just take my acrylic rod and roll each side like so, and then start stretching it out. Okay, so let's cut the end and see what we've got. And there's our little square cane. Okay, I'm going to cut here and find out what's happening with my dog. I will be back. Back again. Now, I wish I could tell you what my puppy was barking at, but I can't. I just wish he would stop barking. All right, so now we're going to make these nice rounded beads. But what we need to do is make a cube roughly this size. So what I'm going to do is take my scrap clay that I've rolled through the thickest setting of the pasta machine, and I'm going to cut it in half and stack. I'm going to lay this on its side because what I'm looking for is this stack to be as high as my cane. Still a little bit low, so I'm going to take some of this apart. I'm going to put one more here. And you know what? That's pretty darn good. So what I ended up with were 5 sheets rolled through the thickest setting of the pasta machine. Now, of course, this varies. It just depends on on the dimensions of this cane. All right, so let's cut. I'm gonna cut, oops, Didn't do a very good job there. There's one. And because the cane is so nice and fresh and soft, it squishes slightly when I cut, so I've got to restore the squareness of the cane. All right, now I'm going to cut, and I'm trying to cut straight down, like so. And I only do 3 sides because I'll do this last side when I come around to that. Because sometimes I've noticed, you know, if I cut off at all, I might not actually have, I may make that too small actually. So I wait. Now I'm gonna try to line that up there. So I've got the 2 sides. Now let's cut a third. Once again, restore the squareness of the cane. And as you do this, of course, you're going to be matching the pattern. Like so. I'll do the best I can. Cut straight down. And you see, there's a little bit of the cube underneath exposed. I'm just going to cut it off there. One more. This is a little thicker. Once again, match the pattern. And if necessary, you can actually take the clay and gently stretch it to cover the scrap, like so. I'm just looking to see if any of the scrap in the middle is extending beyond the cane slices, and it's not. All right. Oops. I'm gonna match the pattern. One more. Do you know, it may seem a bit fussy to do it this way, but I think the results make this little extra work worth the effort. All right. So now you see I have a cube covered with slices from our cane. Now I'm going to soften each corner by grasping opposing corners and pushing in. Opposing corners, push in. Okay. Then I will do the same thing here. Then I will go corner to opposite corner and push in. Corner to corner, push in. I'm just starting to try, well, I'm starting to make it more round and less angular than it is. All right, so I rounded it, but now I have to roll it. Nice thing about this method is that the cane slices fit perfectly. So there's very little fussing you have to do when you apply them to the cube. And here we have a nice, perfect little round bead. And let's put a hole in it. Okay, where is my needle tool? Do I have one here? Okay. Here is the opposite point. So as I'm drilling, I'm just pointing, aiming the tool at that spot. And I wasn't too far off. Now I'll enter from the other side and re-drill. Do a final inspection, make sure that the bead is nice and round. And that is a round bead from a square cane. All right, so thank you very much for watching, and until we meet again, bye.